Alright, everybody. We are going to be going over one of the most popular decks as of late, and that is Control Mage. So Control Mage is a pretty cool deck. A lot of people don't really understand how to play it though. So we're going to start off with a quick guide, just an overview of the deck list, and we're going to talk about what your goals should be while you play, and then we're going to jump straight into a couple games. And as we play those games, we will of course go over the moves we're making and why we are making those moves. So Control Mage is an interesting deck because it's kind of a weird mix of Tempo Mage and Freeze Mage in a way. So it tries to grab the tempo early on using cards like Mana Worm and Arcanologist and Medivh's Valet, even Frostbolt, to try to control the board um, early on, because it doesn't really want to fall behind the board, like Freeze Mage, which kind of does best when it's behind on the board, because then that's when it can get the most value. We do also have Flame Strike and Meteor, and we have some cards that can bring us back into it when we do fall behind, because inevitably we will in the mid to late game. But the goal is really to try to be on the board near the early game. So why do we want to be on the board in the early game? Well, that is because we want to try to get, want to try to stay alive. And we have two ice blocks, which are very, very critical to the deck. And our goal is to basically get those popped as late as possible. We want to make sure we have time to draw into them. That's a little easier with Arcanologist out now, because that allows us to get some pretty good draw into secrets. So that really helps our chances of drawing it. But even still, we really just want to control the board early on so that we survive. And then later on in the game, we want to basically hit them in the face with Alexstrasza, and then burn them from there. We also have Medivh's Guardian, which gives us a Tiche, and that allows us to get some really good value off of our expensive spells too. This deck has no shortage of expensive spells. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. We want to control the board early, and then in the later stages of the game, we want to try to transition into more of a burn style, where instead of caring about what we have on the board, we kind of switch into more of a freeze mage, where we let them take over the board. But if we have ice blocks up, it's not like there's a whole lot they can do. So with that, let's get into it. Just gonna play a couple games. They might not all be wins, but the point is to learn, not to win. So one really common mistake that a lot of people make playing this deck is that they hold all of their burn spells for the end of the game in order to try to hit face with them. The thing about this deck is that it has more than enough burn spells. It has burn to spare. We have Pyroblast, we have Alexstrasza, which gets them down to 15. So really only need 15 damage to win. Between Pyroblast, 2 Firelance Portals, 2 Fireballs, we're at 32 damage just from burn. Throw in the 2 Frostbolts, and we're at 38. If you want to count Medivh's Valet 2, we're at 44. The point is, we have more than enough burn damage. So we do not have to worry about that at all. Alright, so our first mulligan, we're going up against Paladin. So Babbling Book is usually a good card to keep. It's a decent turn 1 play. It puts something down on the board. And Volcanic Potion is also a good card against Paladin, if they're playing the Murloc variety, which seems to come up a lot, so I think that's a safe assumption. So we're going to toss the 2 7 cost cards. So what do we get? Oh, a Mana Worm. That is also fantastic, especially with the coin. And it is the Murloc variety. So we have a couple options here. We could either play the Mana Worm and then coin Babbling Book out to get a 2/3 and a 1/1 with a random spell. Or we can just play Babbling Book and sort of rely on getting value out of our Volcanic Potion. And I think that that's the best move right now, even though you could definitely have a discussion about that. Meteor is a fantastic card to get out of a Babbling Book. So much better than the usual Shatter. So, she's discovering a secret right now. The nice thing about Murloc Paladin is they have a very, very large number of 2 health minions. So this is very easy to choreograph. But right now he probably knows we're holding on to Volcanic Potion, because the smart move there, if we didn't have it, would have been to hit into the Murloc Tidecaller. But we might even just see a hero power here. Oh, no hero power even. That's really interesting. I'm not. My guess is that Repentance is the secret. In either case, let's hit face and see what happens. Yeah, so it probably is Repentance, and you just didn't want that 1/1 coming back. So now we have to choose. We want to play around Repentance, or do we want to sort of just go for it? And I think the best move here is to just go for the Volcanic Potion. We have 2, and we are already down to 24 damage. Or a Gateway Coda. That's also a possibility. But, yeah, so that's a different Murloc Tidecaller from the one he got from Gateway Coda. I think he got a Murloc Tidecaller out of that. So now going into this turn, we really want to get Arcanologist out sooner rather than later. It's useful for drawing those secrets. It becomes pretty useless after all of our secrets are drawn. It also thins out our deck. So Arcanologist is always a decent play. Seems like there's not much we can do to follow up this turn, if we want to be efficient at least. Next turn we can get a pretty good turn out of Mana Worm, Coin, Ice Barrier, Medivh's Valet. So I am actually okay leaving this here. And who to ping there? That's an argument you could definitely have. My reasoning was that he's, well, A, this powers up, so that's kind of scary, especially with Murloc Paladin heading into turn 5. That can get really strong. And there's also the fact that if we didn't do this, then a Murloc War Leader, is that their name? The give +2/+1 to all Murlocs, that card, that would allow it to trade very efficiently. So by doing this, we are removing that possibility.
Reporting for duty.
Looks like we're not going to be saying that. Okay, so another reason we made that trade was because now that lets us get the full value out of the 3 damage from Medivh's Valet. There's nothing that really relies too much on positioning on our side of the board with this deck. So it's usually fine to put it wherever. Paladin doesn't really rely on positioning too much.
Excuse me, you are
for
on
anything. And notice how right now we're still like in the early stages of the game. So we're still trying to focus on efficient trades. We're not even worried about face damage yet. So this is a pretty annoying situation. There's no great way out of it.
right away.
We could, I mean, with Meteor we could just clear the board. That might not be a bad idea, since generally don't get too many good chances to use Meteor against a Murloc Paladin. aren't too many high health Murlocs out there. So, while that's not a great move, it is definitely not an embarrassing move. Primordial Glyph is a card I did not get to talk about, but it is absolutely amazing. It is a broken card. We get to save that discount. We get amazing cards like Flame Strike, Vaporize. I'm almost tempted to go for the Vaporize here, just because that'll clear out the 3/9. Normally Flame Strike is a higher value card, but in this case I think it's gotta be Vaporize. And the common question there might be, why did you ping the 3/8 that you expect to die next turn? And that's because if I didn't ping it, it would be so obvious I'd Vaporize up. It would be crushingly obvious, and he wouldn't do this attack right now. But I'd paint face instead. It's interesting. So the Ice Barrier still goes off. And yeah, so now we have an interesting turn 8. We have to choose between Medivh the Guardian or Fireland's Portal on the War Leader. So these are the two big options we could play. We also have Volcanic Potion, possibly. Volcanic Potion Ping. Or Volcanic Potion Ping Ice Block. That's actually not a bad idea. I think I've sold myself on it. But the key with Medivh the Guardian is that he will get a ton of value if you can get all 3 charges on the weapon. So let's go ahead and put him down and hope we get something good off the procs. It's kind of annoying. He can trade somewhat efficiently here. Just hit the Tyrion into me, and then just that 2/4 could finish me off. But that puts him in range of Fireball.
The Earth Mother is near.
And Fireland's Portal really is one of the best cards you can play with the Medivh the Guardian out, because it summons a random 5-cost minion and a random 7-cost minion. Alright, we got a high value play next turn. Do you see it? I see it. Card draw is pretty nice. And we got Alex out. That was a pretty great turn right there. Really big turnaround. So now, once you draw Alex, you want to be trying to figure out when the best time to play it is. That should be your #1 priority every turn. It is very awkwardly costed at 9. You can't play it, then use another spell or anything like that. It's a pretty big commitment whenever you do decide to do it. Right now, I think Flame Strike is clearly the winner. We could even do... We should actually play our Arcanologist. We only have 1 secret left in deck, so we want to make sure we get value out of it. So right now I'm thinking Mana Worm, Flame Strike Arcanologist, or Arcanologist Flame Strike. Either way, it's the same sequence. Actually, I guess we should have Flame Striked first, because now we're gonna get a random 7-cost minion, and that might change things. One thing is, random minions of a certain cost are so weak compared to what you would expect. We got the 4-cost 3/3, and now we have a 7-cost 5/5. It's not something most people would be happy about. So right now, I think, is a very fine time to play Alexstrasza.
I bring life.
And now we have to decide whether we want to transition into going face. And I think we definitely do. We have lethal next turn, so that's pretty great. Barring a Secret Eater, and I don't know how else a Paladin could do 10 damage off of the 6 remaining mana. That's one thing they can do. They can Equality Consecration, but that is not going to help them. And they have to know at this point that it is all over. This is not ABM well played. That is just me telling them that they did actually play well. There is a big difference. And that is how you play Control Mage. I'm going to go through one more game. Just try to get a decent sample out there. But it really is a really cool deck. It is a lot of fun to play. It has enough randomness in it that you end up with interesting situations every game, with cards like Primordial Glyph and Babbling Book, but not so much that you don't feel like there is any skill involved. It is a very tough deck to play, in my opinion. It sort of reminds me of the old Patron Warrior, which was an exceedingly difficult deck to play, managing all of your combo cards. This is kind of similar. So I'm going to put these two back, and I'm going to hold on to Harrison Jones here, which is controversial. It is a 5-cost minion, but against Warrior you can get some really, really amazing value, and that can be the game saver if they are a Pirate Warrior. Alright, so they're a Quest Warrior. Either way, it's still great to hold on to Harrison Jones. Turn 2, we want to get that 2-mana discount. Let's go for a Kabbalah's Tome here, and that is just because we don't have a turn 3 play right now, and this will give us our turn 3 play. And this looks like it is going to be a control matchup too, and in a control matchup, card advantage is always hugely important. You know that the game is not going to be ending anytime soon. So let's go ahead and play it.
Job's done.
Alright, we got some okay cards. Nothing too amazing. We got Mirror Image, Stall for a little bit, Mana Bind. Not anything too fantastic in this matchup. And Volcanic Potion is alright.
An incredible discovery.
So we did that. Let's go ahead and ping this. Remember, early on, it's all about control. Don't worry about face damage yet. The only exception might be if it's an aggro deck that you're up against, and you have no hope of winning, unless you start to go face very, very aggressively, and you think you actually have a shot. But odds are, that's probably not the right call. Speaking of the right call, what do we do here? It's kind of an awkward hand. We could ping this, put down an ice barrier. I like that the most because now we're in a spot where a Volcanic Potion could do some pretty good damage here, especially if he plays anything else. So we have Pink Volcanic Potion next turn. Another option is to just play our Cone of Cold right now, which would stall for a turn, and it would put this in range of getting killed by Volcanic Potion next turn. It would put this at 4, and this at 5, So yeah, I'm almost positive we want to do this. And now we can go for the ping here.
I found it first. I found it first.
And we're basically giving away right now. We have Volcanic Potion, but I'd be shocked if he didn't have a Fiery War Axe by now. Anyway, he's probably not going to play anything.
Made to fit.
And that's a pretty good card to play. And there's the War Axe. Alright, so we could do a Volcanic Potion. That would kill two things. I'll give him 4 armor, which isn't awesome. We could polymorph the armor smith first. Is that worth it though? I'm not sure if that is worth it. Alright, so we definitely want 2 Volcanic Potion. That'll leave us with 4 mana. We could also Mana Worm. We could also just start by Firelance Portal on the Armor Smith. We have a lot of options here. And I'm leaning right now towards actually polymorphing the Armor Smith. You know, there are much stronger taunts coming up. Yeah, let's do this. I hope we get something good out. You know, typical 5-cost minion with a 4/4 stat line. Smart move. So let's see what Harrison Jones draws us. We could drop the Volcanic Potion now, but I'm not sure if that's something we want to do. We could also Mana Worm Glyph, then Harrison Jones. Even though I think getting the draw of Harrison Jones is more efficient.
That belongs in a museum.
So we have 10 cards in hand, so we definitely don't want to use Arcane Intellect. So we can either Mana Bind or we can Mana Worm Glyph. Let's do a Mana Bind, just because it's good to have that secret there. There aren't too many spells that we're likely to see. That's actually a pretty good one to take through Mana Bind. It is kind of annoying. I should have realized we were at 10 cards, and now we are at 10 cards again.
I have an axe to grind.
But we are gonna get a decent slam off. So we should be able to slam. Ah, that's an annoying one to miss too. Alright, so if we slam the 3/4, polymorph the 2/6, Volcanic Potion, that'll leave us with 5 mana. Or no, sorry, that'll leave us with 2 mana. Just enough to glyph. Alright, I like this plan. I want to play the one that he probably already knows we have first. Oh, after we do this. Now we want to do this. And realistically, the technically correct move was probably not. Just probably to Primordial Glyph first. But let's pretend we like to live dangerously, and that wasn't just a misplay, which it totally was. So hopefully he forgets about the whole Primordial Glyph thing. So this is interesting. So we can... There are 2 ways we can kind of go about this. We can either do something like Arcane Intellect and leave us at 10 cards, so we don't just want to do straight Arcane Intellect. You'd have to hope we drew something worth playing, which there isn't a whole lot worth playing really in this situation. If we drew an Ice Barrier, an Ice Block, maybe an Arcanologist, but in general, maybe a Babbling Book. But those would all leave us with 10 cards. So I think the best play here might actually be to play Alexstrasza and get his health down low, or it might be to play Medivh the Guardian. Let's go for Medivh the Guardian, because Alexstrasza does not take a lot of time to get value off. You can play at Alexstrasza, and then win the next turn, and eventually get value off of it. Whereas with Medivh, you need usually at least 2 or 3 turns to really get the maximum benefit off. So I think that this is a very fine time to put down Alexstrasza. Yeah, let's go ahead and put down Alexstrasza now. And that leaves him at 26 health. So we're not going to win now, but we did just get 15 damage off on Alexstrasza, which is pretty impressive. So there's the execute. We have a few full charges on our weapon, so we could fireball the Primordial Drake, and that seems like our best plan. So let's plan out our turn first. So we want to play Mana Worm, most likely, if we have any hanging mana first. Then we can fireball either a 4-cost or a 2-cost fireball. We have our option. It's usually good to try to save the 2-cost for burn at the end when they don't expect it. Speaking of burn, we have 22 damage, which is because we have 2 fireballs and the Pyroblast. And right now he's sitting at 28 health.
What to do?
I guess we have a little bit more with that, but in either case, we don't want to go all in yet, I think, on damage. So let's go ahead and rush through this turn very hastily. Let's see what we get. Oh, that's actually not a bad hit. What do we get here? Alright, this is pretty good. So yeah, one very common mistake with Medivh's Valet is to play a spell, then end your, or not Medivh's Valet, with, when you have Medivh's, Atish, equipped. A very common mistake is to play a spell and click on end turn before seeing what pops out. And oftentimes that is a charge minion. So that is something to definitely keep an eye on. Alright, so this quest is done, which means that we have to move into burn mode. So we drew this meteor. This meteor is an amazing draw here. So normally you'd want to draw first, but we only have 1 charge left on our weapon. So let's go ahead and play the meteor first and then play into Arcane Intellect. After seeing what pops out, that is a good minion. That is awesome. Okay.
For the eye.
And I'm not gonna rush into playing Mirror Image. We're already kind of weak to board clears. I guess to a brawl or something. But either case, we are looking like we are in a good position right now. There's the brawl. Okay. So we each have 9 cards. Alright, that's fine. That's not the worst it could have gone. So now we always want to be looking for lethal. So in our hands we have 10 damage, we have 16, we have 19. He's at 29 health, so we're not even close to lethal yet. We have only 1 secret left in our deck, so we definitely want to draw that as soon as possible.
For honor.
Yeah, and let's end it here. So, I know we had some leftover mana there, and we could have thrown the Fireball or the Frostbite at face, but the thing with doing that is that we lose flexibility when we do that. We end up in a situation where maybe we didn't want to do that. So this is an annoying minion for him to have gotten. So if we can actually kill it without dealing damage, that would be ideal. Without letting him deal damage, that would be ideal. So it might actually be worth doing Flame Strike Frostbolt, since if we attacked into it with something that would just end up getting enough armor to make it not worth it, and basically undo the Frostbolt that we are hitting him with. So right now he's at 20 health. It's always very important to know exactly how much health the opponent has when playing as this deck. Know exactly how much health they have, know exactly how much burn you have, know how long it would take to get through that burn. So right now they're at 25 health, so we have a decision to make. What do we want to do here? Do we want to go face with all of our spells? So let's do our counting. We have 20 damage here. In our hand we have definitely more than enough to do it over 2 turns, because we have 10 here. Then we have from Fireball we have 6. This gives us 9. We have 10, 11, 12. We have 13 from our pings. We have 23 damage. We have enough even if they armor up to kill them. So let's go ahead and just do this.
For honor.
I found it first.
And at this point there really is not a whole lot that they can do. He's gonna armor up for sure. If he has shield block, that might cause issues, but even then, I still think that we can win this, because we still have Fireball and Fire Lance Portal in our deck, and an Arcane Intellect. The odds that we don't win on this next turn are so low. I don't think he has shield block, because he would have played it already for the card draw. There we go.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
Well played.
Remember, the Medivh Valet is also basically a Frostbolt. That is 3 damage anywhere including face. That can get you a lot of defense like that. But, well, that is about it for this video. Hopefully you have more of an idea of how to play this deck now. It's a really fun deck to play. It's one of my favorites. It's probably my favorite this season. And yeah, let me know how you like it. If you like this video and want more in the future, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Alright, until next time.